Hi everyone, welcome again Monday night at 7. It's great to see how many people are here. Couple of things this week. We'll just go through a few questions that have been left in the group during the week. Thank you, because that always helps everybody to learn something, and it helps us to compile a whole kind of collection of your questions and common things that come up after surgery, so that the next lot that come through will also get a head start like you have. So yeah, no question is silly or unnecessary. So it's always really helpful. And the second thing we're going to do is get ready for the 50 Foods Challenge. So I don't know if you've read about that in the group. Once I've done the question time, I'll go through the chart and the whole process, and it's just a bit of fun, and it's not a race, just a bit of a journey, and just to get us thinking something differently about food and what we're putting in our bodies every day, and how, I guess, what kind of variety we're putting in our and eating. So anyway, first question we've got two questions. One is about getting enough fluid, and the second question is about having surgery and not losing much weight. So Margaret was asking, she's 5 years post-op, struggling every day with getting enough fluid, can't stomach water, and just having difficulty keeping it in. I've tried the measurement bottled, but it's too hard to stick with work. I need a good healthy drink and a drink bottle idea. Feeling headachy and tired all the time, which makes sense, doesn't it? That's a long time to have that happening. So it's always when things are prevailing, especially something as simple as being able to drink water, I think it's really good to just make sure that's been assessed by somebody. It is something that we do hear of, and the one thing I have heard is that it can be to do with the surface tension of the water. So I have heard that softer waters are better, more alkaline forms. So I think the Fiji water, from the information I've gathered from around the traps, is a bit softer. So some people who are having trouble keeping just tap water in, you might try just experiment with a few different mineral waters, or try the Fiji water, because I have heard good things about it. The other thing it is, the surface tension. So even just putting something in the water that would just break that up. We recommend like citrus juice or orange juice, or you can actually, I've got a drink bottle right here. I don't know if you can see it. It's a double-walled little vessel, and what goes, I don't have it here, but in the top it has a little basket which you can use for tea. If you're going to drink hot tea, it's actually a hot or cold vessel, and you pop a little steel basket in the top of it, and it infuses the water with tea, or you can put fruit in there. If you're going to do fruit, it does need to sit there for a little while so that it does infuse, but that sort of thing could work for you. Maybe just try breaking the surface tension with healthy options. Some people put in like the diet cordials, and I try to save that for second favourite option. So explore what you could do with that, but do please get that investigated if it's been going on for 5 years and you're having trouble drinking water and you're feeling terrible. The other thing, coconut water might be a good option to try. It does have a little bit of the carbs in it, but it's a really good electrolyte balancer. So sometimes when you feel like water is going in and not being utilised, it can be that there is a electrolyte imbalance, and that can happen with dehydration. So I would assume that is existing in your case if you're having difficulty. So you could try that. You can try adding just a tiny pinch of salt and seeing if that makes a difference. But all of this sort of thing, outside of fruit and coconut water, if you're adding salt to your water, just make sure it's just a tiny little bit. And it's a good, not an iodized salt like a dodgy table salt. Make sure it's like a sea salt or something that's of good quality, and see if that makes a difference with actually getting that water into the cells, because salt is a part of that process as well. And if there's not enough of it, sometimes that can help it along. So I hope that helps answer your question. Drink bottle idea, maybe that one I just held up could work. Something that has either, there are a few around. This one's a double walled glass, so you can use it for hot or cold. It has a lid, which is in the kitchen, and it has a basket in it for the tea. And that's just an easy size too that kind of you can carry with you. Or you could try something from our website. Portion Shop have quite a few options for different vessels. But you just really, it is a bit of a personal thing trying to find what works for you. And yeah, just concentrating on getting the water in. You can try it at night. Often I'll find when I brush my teeth at night, I'll have a drink. And then it's when I realise how much I haven't maybe missed out on some water during the day. So I'll actually top it up just before I go to bed as well. Thank you, Margaret. Penny's asking about, she had her surgery in March and has lost no weight, and is wondering if there's an actual diet plan to follow. Again, I think that's something, I wonder if you have seen your practitioners about this one. April, May, June, you went probably into the isolation period just after you had your surgery, perhaps, which can mean that we haven't been in touch with everybody that would be helpful. So maybe reach out if you haven't already, see your dietitian, and also talk. Predominantly dietitian would be the best way for this one, or nutritionist. If you haven't got a dietitian assigned to you and you'd like one, you just send us an email, tell me where you are, and we can, we've certainly got contact with all the bariatric dietitians around Australia, so we can help you to find someone who's helpful. But yeah, weight loss directly after surgery, it can mean that you're just maybe not eating enough, not getting enough calories in. I think that's about the best, about the only thing I will say about that one, because I don't know if you have had some extra support and some assessment done. The other place I would look is into hormone balance and thyroid function, and also how many calories you're eating every day, just to see that you're not going into that kind of shutdown starvation mode if you're not eating enough. That's my dog coming in. So give that a go. But always, if something's not right or something's not happening like it should be, it's a great opportunity, or it's imperative that you do get someone to help you and get their input. So the next, that's the only 2 questions we had this week. Everybody must be feeling wised up and happy, which is great. I think life's getting back to some kind of normal, whatever that is, but it does seem that routines are starting up again, and work's certainly starting to get busy. We had a period of time where there were no surgeries, so that kind of, can you see her? That, yeah, also it's good to see that people who had this goal set have also been able to get the help that they need, and the surgeries being scheduled again. So it's busy times all round. So I'll get on to the 50 Foods Challenge. I'm going to see if I can share my screen here with you. I practiced before, and that way I can show you, here it is. I can show you the chart. I'm trying to find it. I had it up here before. We'll post this in the group. Essentially, it's just a page where you can write down every food you eat for a period of time, and it's really a exploratory journey that we're trying to encourage you to be a part of. It's not something that's a race to 50 foods, but it's certainly to provoke awareness of just how diverse our food intake is. And by doing that, eating lots of colours and eating a variety of foods, it is really good to have a look at what those foods are doing for the body. Different colours do different things, and we'll explain all of that as we go along. So not only will you post in maybe an extraordinary food that you tried, or something you haven't eaten before, or a meal that you never really thought you'd enjoy, but you've, new taste buds are being born all the time, aren't they? So yeah, just exploring what's on offer, and maybe sharing in the group different foods that you've tried and what you did with them and that sort of thing. So all of those, bringing in a range of foods on a regular basis, herbs, spices, different coloured vegetables, brightening things up a little bit, all have far-reaching effects on digestion and the health of your microbiome. Some foods have different, what we call, all different kind of plant based, like polyphenols and lots of different chemicals that actually have huge effects on things like the circulatory system and the cardiovascular system and your brain and all that sort of thing. So when you post into the group, I tried zucchini this week. I never thought I'd like it, didn't like it as a kid, and I stuffed it and cooked it, and here's the 6 things I put in with it. I can then have put a little bit of input in and just highlight what kind of good things you're actually doing there. So it's a nice thing to think about food, and also to get an understanding of the reason behind why that food's important as part of our diet. So I'm having trouble sharing the screen, so I'll just put it up on the group later on. It's a download, so you just download the chart, and it's just got little rectangles on it where you can put the list of 50 different foods you've eaten. There'll be little giveaways along the way and just bits and pieces to inspire you. But it's more your journey, and it's something that we're not trying to reward and encourage you to race through it. We want it to be something that you're kind of thinking about for a fairly long period of time. So I haven't actually put an end date on this whole process, because I'd like to see kind of how quickly people are managing to fill up the chart and reach their targets, and then just download another one and start again and just have a look at what different foods you can bring in over the next little while. It is quite interesting, especially as the seasons change. You'll notice that different foods are not on offer or are seasonal or out of season, and being in tune with the foods that are in season and choosing those foods is a really important part of supporting your body as well. So when you are looking at what's in season and what might not be in season, they're all usually available all year round, because we're farming and we have different methods of making things grow that maybe shouldn't be growing at certain parts of the year. The cheaper foods, like if you go into the supermarket and grapes are $11.99 a kilo, you know that they're available, but they might not be in season. So when the grapes are $2.99 and they're at the front of the fruit and veggie market and they're all heaped up on a big pallet, they're in abundance and that it's their time of year to eat them. So having a look around at prices and maybe buying things that are at a reasonable price. If avocado is $4.99 and sometimes it's $1.49, you know that perhaps it's not the time of year that avocados grow. So that's the other thing we can do as we explore this process is, look at how we eat with the seasons and what our tendencies are. So when the weather changes and things start to cool down, and this is a good time to start because it's starting to get pretty cold, and you find that your appetite will change. Generally, you'll feel quite hungry, and you'll be looking for different types of more sustaining foods, like warm stews and something with a bit more depth to it than in summer when you're hot and you're needing more hydration and that sort of thing. You'll be looking at fruits and vegetables and salads and lighter meals as well. So it's all a part of really starting to listen, and I think particularly in our community, a huge part of what we're trying to instill is that learning to be aware of yourself and your understanding of your body and kind of check what you need. And this is actually part of that. So it's paying attention to those little details and having some fun along the way, I hope. So we'll post all of that up in the group, and then as the weeks go on, we'll touch base with everyone and see how they're going. Feel free to send us an email on support@bnmulti.com if you've got any questions. But generally, the talk in the group will also be about how we're all progressing with the. I just saw your comment, Joanne. I don't know how many times I let the dogs in and out every day. It's quite funny. So yeah, I guess what I'm saying is let's work together on exploring and enjoying what's on offer, and having a look at different things that we may not have explored before. And I think when we're sharing these kind of things, the inspiration we can draw from each other is such a powerful force, and I'm starting to really see that, and that's what I love about our positivity and just the things that people are sharing about, their progress and what they're eating and that sort of stuff. I can see that, some people are making such a huge effort, and it's to be commended because it's certainly not easy. And especially in the times that we've been in recently, it's definitely not been easy to maintain that structure and routine and commitment. So I kind of felt maybe this week was the start of the beginning again. And yeah, back into the gym and that sort of thing. So that's going to hurt. So does anyone have any questions about what we're doing? Any questions about how things are going at the moment? I've got a lot of hellos from all the girls. Good to see you here. We've got our beautiful regular group, and then there's the others who are popping in and out. But I think this one is starting to build some momentum, which is fantastic. So stick with it, and I'll post the download up in the group quite shortly, and we can all just post our comments there if you've got any further questions. Cool. And please keep the questions coming, because we'll keep doing a check-in every week, and just a boost on the questions and helping everybody along the way. All right. Have a lovely week.